Welcome to In This Body, the online event to support parents and caregivers with staying regulated, embodied, and connected, even when things get intense. And today I have a wonderful speaker. Her name is Gabriella Fenesi. Gabriella has nearly a decade of experience in the healing arts as an energy healer, shamanic practitioner, and womb keeper. And in 2025, she became an ancestral lineage healing practitioner. In her work, she prefers to teach clients practices that empower them to become their own healers. Gabriella lives in Budapest with her three children and her cat. Originally, she studied law at the university, but already at the start, she was more interested in naturopathy and alternative medicine. So she studied that. She also studied Tai Chi Chuan, and motherhood was a very big milestone in her life. Pregnancy, birth, and welcoming wise old souls as her children enriched her life experience in uncountable ways. And she found her calling to help others return to their true nature, where pure joy and love are present in everyday life without effort or substitutes, where we expand from our inner being and create a better future for all. Uh, Thank you so much for being here, Gabriella.
Thank you so much, Nadine, for having me.
Yeah. So, tell us more about your background, where you come from, and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm from Hungary and I still live here in Budapest. As you mentioned in my bio, I started learning Tai Chi from a Chinese master very early, and it was more than 20 years ago. And it also gave me a physical resilience. But I started to apply the principles of the movement in the everyday life, like the inner and outer balance. And the key sentence that is still helping me finding my way and my balance in everyday life is what my master used to say, that where focus goes, energy flows. I think you could have heard it from other places. When you direct your focus on that, not just in the physical, it's also very interesting how physically it works, but in the life altogether, with all the layers, with the emotions and how we try to create our own life altogether. It really shows where we put our energy. And then I started to learn different types of energy medicine. And I discovered, and also observing myself and others around me, I discovered that sometimes, even with the best focus and the best intention, this energy gets stuck. And especially when I became a mother, I was observing women and mothers all together that maybe you've also observed that sometimes women stay so fresh and useful, all also in their later years, like in their silver ages. And sometimes you can observe that women with multiple kids, usually they just seem so tired and frustrated all the time, and it looks on them. So I was trying to figure out, also for myself, but after a while for others, how to navigate with the womanhood and the motherhood all together, and with this energy perspective. And I discovered a lot of limiting beliefs around also womanhood, how we perceive ourselves as women, as the feminine. There's a lot of guilt and shame around the body itself. And also around motherhood, I think everyone can relate to that. When you become expecting your first child, everyone knows better than you what is the best for you and for your kids. And especially after the birth and even about the birth, it is like taking away all your power and telling you as if you were like a baby and you wouldn't know what is good for you and for your child. So I started to yeah, to unfold all these topics in myself, also related to birth and after in the early stages of motherhood. What are the limiting beliefs? And I found a lot of transgenerational patterns. And this is where, when I became an ancestral lineage healing practitioner, I was so impressed about how fast you can transform those limiting beliefs with the help of your ancestors. So all the energy work and I also started teaching feminine qigong for women, how to reconnect with their own body in a very healthy and balanced way, and how to let that energy flow abundantly through. But after I observed these transgenerational patterns, I realized basically I was looking for some kind of method that could help to transform all those in an easy and very comfortable way. So when I came across ancestral lineage healing, I was like, okay, I found my answer. And also working with my own lineages, with ancestral lineage healing, I found that I had a lot that I haven't discovered before from my maternal and altogether grandmother's lineages, around also around the body, but also a lot of grief that we are all sitting with and we have there in our, with our ancestors. And also I found a lot of wisdom and a lot of support from the ancestors, and also about how to navigate with my kids in these challenging times.
Yeah. Uh, I relate to so many things you said. Let me go back to when you said when we become mothers and how everybody suddenly wants to tell us what to do. I relate to that so much because I became a mother when I was very young. I was just 21. So I was like, there was a lot of fear around it, a lot of like, I don't know what to do. And it's like automatically we give our power away. Now, I know why. Can you speak to the reason why? Like, why do we give our power away when we become mothers, especially?
Yeah, I think it is partly because of the tradition that we inherit from the ancestors, and also there's a layer of fear in us not to do any harm, and also becoming part of a new family structure that is connected also to the parents of the father of our children or kids. And I think the most of it is the fear of, yeah, we really, really, really want to do our best for our children. And I think also the modern media and the films altogether make us believe that everyone else knows it better. So it is not us giving birth to the child, it is the medical care. Without that, At least they make us believe. I gave birth to all of my kids at home with midwives. So I know there's a difference in the setting when you are surrounded by loving people who are just there to help you. And when there are, I haven't experienced that, but I've heard it from stories from others, what it's like to be in the medical setting when you are just a subject who is giving birth. And from that point, I think it can be such a trauma for women going through birth itself in that setting. That is the point when our power is basically taken away from us.
Mm, mm. Yeah, yeah. And for anyone who has gone through that and who is now finding themselves, okay, like what is done is done. So how can they move forward from here now?
Mm. Yeah, well, it just reminded me to a story of mine when I first when I gave birth to my first child. The very next day, as I said, it was a home birth, and the next day I started to cleaning the house, and really like crazy. And the father of my kid asked me, "Why are you doing this? You just gave birth. Maybe you should rest or something." And then I sat down and I was pondering, okay, it's not typical me cleaning that lot. So what is it? What came to me? And I realized that that was the pattern that I saw as a child from my mother. She was cleaning a lot. And as soon as I became a mother, instantly, like the very next day, I wanted to live up to that pattern unconsciously. So I said then I realized, okay, there's a lot of things in motion that I wasn't aware of. And I need to be very careful. How do I navigate with this? So I set up some rules for myself. And I think that is the most important that as mothers, it's the best if we navigate from our own heart and knowing and decide between all the advices that we get from others, which is the best for us and for our kids. And be very conscious how we go through the very early stages of motherhood. I think it's also the most important stage for a baby when they arrive newly into the world and observe everything, and yeah they just suck in all the information as a sponge.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and the word disconnection comes to me when we talk about
Mm.
being impacted by what others tell us instead of trusting our knowing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Also, regarding the body itself, as I mentioned, there's a lot of guilt and shame around the feminine body, and that really makes us disconnect from the body, especially the sexual organs, which are related to the pregnancy and the birth itself. And I usually say when I with feminine clients that these are the parts of the body that we don't tend to at all, only when we are pregnant or when we have already some kind of illness or trouble in there. And just allowing ourselves to connect with the womb itself or with the breast itself daily and thanking them how they support us in our everyday life, how they nurture our children when we are pregnant, and how they help us create our whole life and the world around us. It can really change the whole setting of our being as women and as mothers.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I love that idea. And I was introduced to the idea of like thanking the womb and like uh, considering it like as the most sacred thing in your body and making decisions from there.
Mhm.
I was introduced to this concept a while ago, and um, as you mentioned, there was a lot of shame and guilt that came up at that stage.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. How do you address when like these emotions come up? Uh, for me, I was very good at distracting and like getting myself busy. Nah, I don't want to feel the guilt. I'm gonna go do something. Yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I like to focus on the womb, just like you mentioned, the most sacred space. And also, I suggest women to handle it as a space itself, where also like in your own home, where you can clean and cleanse everything, also emotions and ideas like the shame and the guilt, and sometimes we are storing also grief inside. And I would say all the heavy emotions and all the emotions that we don't release from our body are basically stored in our womb also. So going into that sacred space and do some kind of cleansing, just like guided meditation, could really help. And just like with our home, we can also invite in like decorating the space itself, the uplifting emotions and the uplifting energies of joy, pleasure, happiness, love. Yeah. And when releasing the heavy things like shame and guilt, I like to remind my clients that those are not our initial part. Those belong to the thousands of years of patriarchy when women was oppressed, or I would say we are still in a way are oppressed. And when we just release them and cleanse it out of the system, so much energy frees up and we can use it in other beneficial ways.
Yeah, yeah. And you mentioned at the start where attention goes, how did it, where
Yeah,
our
yeah, yeah. Where
attention
focus
goes.
goes,
Y-
energy flows, and it is
Yeah.
the same with different spaces, with the womb space itself. When we focus on the uplifting things, when connecting with our womb, then those can go inside there. And also when we are focusing on the heavy part, we are storing that inside. And just imagine as how a baby would grow up in, I mean, become full term in the womb when you connect with the womb itself and it is charged with the love and joy that you can give to it. And what kind of disadvantage that baby could get when we still store all the fear, all the shame and the guilt inside.
Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I felt called to ask this question. I hope it's not off topic, but how can we bring this appreciation for the womb to our daughters now, our whoever is raising daughters, and you can speak to different ages, but
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
you have
yeah.
something to speak to that.
Yeah, I think the most important part is just be the model, so they can see that you are connecting with your own body in a very healthy and loving way. My daughter now is 15, so in the teenage years, she already has her period. And she's also like a rebelling teenager, so she wouldn't accept any advice from me around that. Um, I would say being the model that you like to see in your daughters is the best way. And of course, um, when they receive their first cycle, it is really good to celebrate it because it is a turning point for them and not telling them. I don't know how in other parts of the world it happens. When I was that young in my teenage years, um, the the period and the menstrual cycle was more treated as a kind of sickness that you get every month, and that it is something that is dirty. And now I see a lot of very good examples in the world, even booklets for young girls, what you can share with them as a mother, and also share with them the wisdom and the knowledge that what you also said, the womb is the sacred space where we create not only our children but also everything, the home, the work that we do, all the food, all the whole world that is set around us is created by that life force that flows through the womb.
Yeah.
Sharing that information could be helpful, but I think it's also very important that we let them discover their own path, just like I do with my daughter. I don't want to force anything on her because otherwise I think that would make her turn to the very other direction. So just let her, and yeah, giving them small direction indications on their way. I think that's the best we can do.
Yeah, yeah, so true, so true. Thank you for sharing that. Uh, you did have something to say around the ancestral lineage and how it comes through, and how it brings along with it sometimes the grief, but
Yeah,
also the support. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, about the grief part. I think there's a lot of grief in the world that wasn't really processed by our ancestors. It's, you just look at the history of humanity. It's enough to look at the last 500 years. There were a lot of wars, and people just transitioned through those ages without having the proper setting for releasing grief from the family system itself. And I feel so lucky to have this method, which was created by Dr. Danielle for to connect with my own ancestors, the well and wise ones, and ask them to help the ancestors who lived before me to process that kind of grief and all the traumas and all the blockages that they might have been sitting with since their life. Um, and I've already worked with a lot of lineages of mine, so I would say it gives a huge transformation for us as all those blockages are healed on the in the family system with the lineages. um, there's a lot of energy that can flow through those lineages to you and also towards your children. So what you've asked me, what is the best way that we can support our daughters? I also feel this is a very good method. If you heal your lineages, your ancestral lineages, basically you're gifting your children a support system that can really protect them and support them throughout their whole life and even after. And releasing the grief from the family system can bring a kind of lightness into our life. And also, yeah, the support system is about learning all the wisdom that our ancestors in the ancient times had. And it's like having those grandfathers and grandmothers that sometimes we couldn't have. I didn't have them. They died when I was quite young, and also my parents already passed away. So now I feel with my ancestral guides through the ancestral lineage healing, I found those guiding grandfathers and grandmothers that can support me in the best way because they all know what I carry as gifts and blessings in my body and in my blood. And basically, I am the embodiment of their intention and of their love. So it is always the best that they really want for me and for my children.
Mm. Yeah, that's like a very important point. Our ancestors want the best for us.
Yeah.
It's like they see, and as you said, they see the gifts that we carry. Um, and whether we are aware of it or not, we are connected because it's like the memory lives in the physical body, it lives in the tissues and the blood. The connection is already there. It's just that in this modern life, we've kind of forgotten and we're not making space for it to happen. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. Like any tips for someone who is really interested in this, who feels called and but they don't know where to start or like what to do?
Yeah, I would suggest you can buy the book from Dr. Dania for the title is Ancestral Medicine, and it is translated to many languages. If and English is not your first language, it is worth to go on the website of Ancestral Medicine, and there you can find the books in different languages where you can get them. And it is also very good. There's I think every quarter year there's a ancestral lineage online course with ancestral medicine. And if you really feel the calling, I think it is also very useful to find a practitioner for yourself and start to work on your lineages. You can also do it by the book itself, but sometimes it's I still I've done the practitioner training, and there I connected a lot with my training mates, and I still have that custom to turn to them when I feel that something really important is happening with my lineages or I need support. I always ask another practitioner to hold the space for me because it's so much easier to work in a space when it is held by someone else.
Yes, asking for support like is one thing I think everybody needs to get better at, especially mothers, uh, because
Yeah.
yeah, there's so much support available, and knowing okay, the support is available and giving yourself permission to actually ask is a full act of self-care. Yeah.
Yeah, and also the receiving part. I've also went through this phase when I was trying to get along and alone with my three kids as a mother, and I was in that mode of I can manage everything, I can do everything, do my job and the kids. And then I realized it is depleting, and yeah, I know that saying exists in many languages that a child needs a whole village to grow up.
Mm.
And it is so true. And it is not just because everyone adds a different kind of wisdom. Also, the mother needs to be taken care of, and also to take care of ourselves and reach out for support, even for like everyday things. With my friends, for example, we started to manage the housekeeping together with the big cleansing. We go to each spaces, each homes of ours, and clean together. And it is so much more fun to do that together with friends than just doing it alone by yourself. And it is much faster also. So
Yes.
even tiny support is very important, not just with the big transformation, and not just when we feel that we need help. It is also very good to accept help, which is already maybe surrounding us, but we are not able to receive that. It's very
Mm.
important for mothers to be open to that and receive.
Yeah, yeah. The willingness to receive and without shame and guilt, receiving with a pure heart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And one last question about rest and how, like, okay, we can live in tune with the cycles. And we talked about the womb and how can we honor the womb by living in tune with the cycles as well.
Mm, yeah. Being conscious about the cycles itself and how the different hormonal stages are following each other, and honoring the phases when we feel tired, give ourselves time to rest. And when we feel more active or creative, let us do that. Um, and it doesn't mean that we cannot live in the everyday world, like having a regular job from 9 to 5. It just means that we allow ourselves being more aware where we are with our cycle, and also acknowledging that and giving space to that, and don't force ourselves into tasks that are not in alignment with the specific phase of our cycle. I think there are many books about cycle consciousness for women, and it is very good to follow along how we are going through the different phases.
Yeah, yeah, so true. Uh, Anything else you'd like to add before you share about your gift to our listeners?
Um, yeah, I would say the very best practice that we can do as mothers and women, just to trust our body more, because the wisdom that is connected with whole humanity is encoded in our body, and we just need to relearn how to listen to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I know you have such a generous gift to anyone who's listening today.
Yeah, yes, thank you for saying that. So I offer a free 60-minute session where we can discover the focal points where the flow of the feminine power can be improved in one's life. And you will find booking link to that under the video, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. Yeah. Um, this has been wonderful. One last thing to leave our audience with.
Oh, yeah, just focus on the joy and the love in your everyday life, and then you can see how it start to bloom again. And
Yeah.
thank you for listening and also for focusing on yourself.
Mm. Thank you.
Thank you.